During the 20th century, the population of Subcarpathia was forced to belong to a number of states, which, of course, had a positive impact on people's mentality and the tolerance towards other nations. Following the gaining of independence by Ukraine, the situation of the minorities, despite economic difficulties due to coexistence traditions of the Subcarpathian people and the specific development of Ukrainian politics, was satisfactory. At that time, century-old standards of peaceful coexistence, providing conflictless relations among nationalities, still prevailed. However, since the beginning of the new millennium, we have witnessed the development of the Ukrainian national state, a process of nationalization, as a result of which many centuries-old customs were violated and damaged, arousing new coexistence problems in the region. Anti-Hungarian actions in Ukraine. This film is a summary of the Minority Monitor research project by the Cultural Alliance of Hungarians in Subcarpathia and the Lehozsky Tivadar Social Science Research Center. The project is a compilation of recent actions carried out against the Hungarian community of Subcarpathia. The researchers documented more than 400 anti-Hungarian cases in the years 2014 to 2018. Reviewing these cases, the research centre concluded that official policy carried out against the Hungarian minority expressly and consistently seeks the forcible assimilation of the community. In many cases, these anti-Hungarian manifestations were either carried out or silently aided by official government offices, by executive organs, both at the national and regional level, by political parties, by a wide range of news outlets, and by Ukrainian nationalist forces. The strategy they employ is simple but effective. It begins with heated attacks in Ukrainian media, which are mostly owned by close associates of political parties, against the Hungarian community, their institutions and organizations. They accuse the Hungarian community and leaders of false and unfounded conspiracies, thereby poisoning public opinion against the Hungarians, who are portrayed as separatist, anti-state individuals who do not speak Ukrainian. Incidentally, the Hungarian minority makes up just 0.2% of the population of Ukraine, yet is the country's best organized national minority. The anti-Hungarian campaign of denigration and hate-mongering carried out by the Ukrainian media and the anti-Hungarian attacks and events which have ensued are clear grounds for concern. In the following, we examine these events in turn. In 2014, we recorded 17 cases of anti-Hungarian activity. Of these, 4 were concrete actions that took physical form. The most serious cases in 2014 were the following. March the 10th, 2014. 2 unknown perpetrators poured a flammable liquid over the historical Hungarian monument in Verecke, then set it on fire. Either this was the work of a few hot-headed kids, or else it was a deliberate provocation planned by a third party. Unfortunately, in the times we live in, such provocations are frequent and occur throughout Ukraine. August the 29th. The Hungarian flag in Berehove is defaced by unknown perpetrators. September the 3rd, the Central Election Committee of Subcarpathia, in violation of legal regulations, failed to create an electoral district with a majority Hungarian population. April the 20th, 2015, in several ethnic Hungarian villages in the Uzsvöröd region, the Hungarian language place name sign was obliterated with black paint. In some places, the Hungarian flag was also stolen. August the 21st. Unknown perpetrators vandalized the statue of Hungarian poet Sándor Petőfi in Uzsgórod and broke off the sword. In 2015, the media recorded 18 instances of anti-Hungarian manifestations, of which 6 were physical attacks. In 2016, the number of these anti-Hungarian cases reached 31. March the 13th, 2016. A knife to the Hungarians' throats. About 300 members of extremist Ukrainian nationalist organizations, Karpatska Sich, Pravi Sector and Azov, marched on the streets of Uzsgórod. They shouted anti-Hungarian slogans that urged the extermination of the Hungarian ethnic group. Prosecutors opened a case, but no one was arrested. Subcarpathia is home to many nationalities, and in my opinion, they live together in harmony. What we see here is primarily imported nationalism, groups that come here from outside to provoke people and undermine this peaceful coexistence. August 11th. The statue of Petőfi in Uzsgórod was vandalized once again, when unknown perpetrators again broke the sword off the statue. October the 3rd. A Ukrainian report published on both the correspondent blog and the Subcarpathia.net website informed readers that the leadership of the Cultural Alliance of Hungarians in Subcarpathia used illegal methods in an attempt to falsify the results of a referendum held in Hungary on October the 2nd, 2016. The article included a roster of the names of the Alliance's leadership and their personal data, which is also a violation of privacy laws. November the 25th. The Holocaust Memorial in Uzsgórod, which was erected with the support of the Hungarian government, was desecrated.
Világosan látszik, hogy ez egy megtervezett akció volt, nem egy spontán.
It's clear this was a planned attack, not spontaneous. They brought the paint with them. We think it was some marginal group or extremists. Naturally, we will take all legal steps and file a police report this very day. We hope they will find the perpetrators and punish them appropriately. This is not the first such incident around here. Several Hungarian monuments have been attacked and vandalized. This is just the latest one. Of course, we are outraged. It is an affront to all Europeans of goodwill.
Ez természetesen felháborít, és minden jó érzésű európai gondolkodású embert bánt.
In 2017, the number of anti-Hungarian incidents reported in the media rose to 89 cases, an almost threefold increase over the previous year. Of these, 26 cases involved physical attack. The most serious cases in 2017, January the 31st. Activists of the so-called Black Committee movement held a demonstration at the Embassy of Hungary in Kiev. We want the Ukrainianization of Ukraine. The next step, Ukrainianization of Europe. March the 15th. On this Hungarian national holiday, the extremist organization, Karpatska Sich, held an anti-Hungarian demonstration in Uzsgórod, chanting the slogan, "Foreigners, get it straight. Ukrainians are in charge here." May the 19th. Anti-Hungarian signs appeared in several locations near Berehove and Vinohradiv. News portals in Kiev, followed by Ukrainian sites in Subcarpathia, claimed that these signs were actually placed by local Hungarians. The reports also falsely claimed that local ethnic Hungarian leaders had made statements about ethnic autonomy. June the 20th. Vandals in the town of Hust poured green-coloured medical disinfectant over a memorial plaque at the local castle monument, dedicated to the Hungarian poet Ferenc Kölcsey. June 21st. An influential central Ukrainian television station broadcast an alarmist report about the spectre of separatism. The report insinuated that by providing aid to Subcarpathia, the government of Hungary is seeking to extend its influence over the region. They are trying to spread this atmosphere of panic into our region, and we reject this in the strongest possible terms. The fact is, the central news media and press are, unfortunately, the catalysts of this effort, which stirs up hatred and anger against the national minorities, as if we, the Hungarians of Subcarpathia, 150,000 people in a Ukrainian population of 40 million, as if we were somehow a threat to Ukraine's national unity. It sounds absurd. In any case, the attempt is outrageous. June 24th. The Svit publishing house, Lviv, eliminated its Hungarian language textbook, publishing office in Uzhhorod. August 21st. The TV station, 112, broadcast a report on alleged Hungarian separatism and warned of the dangers of dual citizenship. We took a walk around the town of Berehove. I felt like I was at a border crossing point, a no-man's land, a grey zone. It's not yet Hungary, but it's also hard to call it Ukraine. Every house and even the offices have signs in Hungarian. And in addition to the blue and yellow Ukrainian flag, you see the red, white and green, he says, visibly upset and outraged. September the 5th, 2017. The Ukrainian parliament passed an education law which eliminates native language education as of the 5th grade. It's as if the worst era of Stalinism has returned in a country that calls itself democratic. They have prohibited native language education and shunted the minorities into a different education system that teaches only in the state language. This is outrageous. By passing this law, Parliament is violating the rights that are guaranteed by the Constitution of Ukraine. I think it's unnecessary because we can learn Ukrainian without this law. I would really like to continue school in Hungarian because it is our native language, and that's what we know best, what we love best. After all, this is the language in our heart. Just think about it. As it stands now, the Ukrainian language is taught as a second language. It is just one subject, but is not taught effectively. If this law now comes into effect, then the child won't be able to understand any of his subjects. If I don't know Ukrainian, then I won't be able to make headway in maths, geography, history, or physics either. September the 25th. Falsified pamphlets containing confusing and untrue information are distributed in several ethnic Hungarian areas in the name of the President of the Hungarian Alliance. October the 1st. A criminal gang was arrested. Its members, who are from Cherkasy in central Ukraine, were plotting to blow up the Hungarian Millennium Memorial in Veretske, Subcarpathia. October the 13th. A group demonstrated at the Hungarian consulate in Subcarpathia in favor of the restrictive new Ukrainian education law. Their slogan? All Ukrainians must learn the state language. November the 10th. On the webpage Ukrinform, the Hungarian College of Subcarpathia is referred to as a training center for separatists. November 11th. Down with Hungarian chauvinism, up with Ukrainian-Hungarian national brotherhood, reads a sign placed at the Hungarian consulate in Uzhhorod by activists of the Ukrainian extremist group Karpatska Sich. November the 12th. Ukrainian nationalists held an anti-Hungarian demonstration in the streets of Berehove. The demonstrators, wearing masks, tossed sound grenades and smoke bombs and tore down the Hungarian flag from the local mayor's office. People from eastern Ukraine took part who were willing to spend their time, money and gasoline to come to this faraway town on a Sunday when other people are with their families or at a church watching a game. They come here to show their strength and emphasize that this country is Ukraine. We already know that. We observe every single Ukrainian law, including the right to display our national symbols. Everywhere you look, there is a sign in Hungarian. I'm a Ukrainian and I live here. I want to know what's written there. Maybe it says something that attacks me or my nation or my country. It might be propaganda against the state. And you see it all over Berehove. The Russians took away all the land that we gave them. We gave them too much, and the result was war. You Hungarians are putting pressure on us. You are doing the same thing. So now we are telling you, we won't give you anything. We will make no concessions. This is our land, and we make the laws. You want to live according to our laws? Go ahead. You don't want to? Then go live in Hungary. Thus said the leader of the extremists, who a few years ago set fire to the Millennium Memorial in Verecke and was never convicted. I really hope that the cameras were working and those people who were disturbing the peace will be prosecuted and punished.
I
was planning to go out for a walk with my child, but I saw the live broadcast on the internet and we were afraid to go out. The statue of Sándor Petőfi in Uzsgorod was vandalized once again. Unknown perpetrators dressed the statue of the revolutionary poet in a dirty sweater. The life of a minority in the shadow of terror attacks. Anti-Hungarianism reaches an unprecedented level. For the first time in the region's history, a deliberate bombing is carried out against the organization that represents the Hungarian minority. February the 4th, 2018. Unknown perpetrators toss a bottle containing a flammable liquid onto the headquarters of the Cultural Alliance of Hungarians in Subcarpathia in central Uzsgorod. February the 27th. Unknown perpetrators blow up the building of Cultural Alliance of Hungarians in Subcarpathia in Uzsgorod. The entire ground floor premises are destroyed. At 2 minutes before 2 o'clock, my phone rang. The one that is attached to the alarm system. So that's how I found out. By the time I called my colleague, she was already calling me. And then we alerted our vice president, who told us to call the police. And then everything happened very quickly. This was a terrorist attack, no question. It seemed clear that it was a bomb. If anyone had been in the building, their life would have been in danger. The building was destroyed. No matter who actually carried it out, in my opinion, the responsibility lies with the intense anti-Hungarian campaign by extremist organizations that has been ongoing in the Ukrainian media for over a year. The campaign paints a negative picture of the Hungarian minority and make people hysterical. The other reason this could happen is that similar actions have occurred many times before, yet no one is ever prosecuted. So they think they can get away with it. Their goal is clear: to intimidate the Hungarians of Subcarpathia and to stir up antagonism between the nationalities who live here. March the 1st. The Ukrainian parliament declares that the law guaranteeing language rights for national minorities is unconstitutional. Sergei Knyazev, head of the Ukrainian National Police, announces the arrest of 3 individuals suspected of involvement in the February the 27th bombing attack on the Hungarian Alliance headquarters in Uzsgorod. March the 5th. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Pavlo Klimkin states, anyone who insists that anti-Hungarianism or even an anti-Hungarian campaign is underway in Ukraine should take his complaints to Moscow, to the Kremlin, to the security forces of the Russian Federation. At this time, 29 individuals traveling from Lviv to Subcarpathia, armed with baseball bats, box cutters and knives, were arrested by Ukrainian security forces at the county border town of Nizhny Voroda. On the night of March the 15th, in Berehove, unknown perpetrators smashed the windshields of 8 cars and 1 van having Hungarian license plates. Other cars parked in the same lot with Ukrainian, Czech and German plates were untouched. April the 5th. Viktor Baloga, leader of the political party Jedini Center, submitted a parliamentary bill that would prohibit the use of any national flag except the Ukrainian on state and local government offices. June the 5th, the Ukrainian Security Service filed criminal charges of separatism against the Egan Ede Economic Development Center of Subcarpathia. The court has summoned our foundation to appear in court at proceedings carried out by the Ukrainian Security Service. They accuse our foundation of being separatist and that the grants we give out threaten Ukraine's territorial integrity. June the 6th, the local chapter of the organization Svoboda demonstrated at the Ministry of Education in Kiev. Their protest? The government is ignoring the Hungarian separatist threat in Subcarpathia. June the 22nd, the Egan Ede Memorial Park near Uzhhorod was vandalized. A memorial stone painted in the colors of the Hungarian flag was spray painted. June the 27th, a stone cross on a hill in Berehove was vandalized. The perpetrators painted it in the colors of red and black, adding the following slogan: "Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes." August the 8th, the memorial stone, the Egan Ede Memorial Park, was again vandalized, just a month after it was restored following the previous attack. The stone, painted in the colors of the Hungarian flag, was now painted in red and black. August the 29th, perpetrators broke into the Roman Catholic Church of St. Stephen in Oknoslatina and vandalized its Hungarian flag. September the 18th. On this date, Ukrainian border officials at the Hungarian border began ongoing harassment of prominent ethnic Hungarians, association leaders, local public officials and journalists who are detained and subjected to extensive searches for hours on end with no explanation given or reports filed. The border guard checked my passport and then confiscated it and told me to pull over. He insisted on searching my car, even though he had no warrant and provided no documentation. Even though I demanded a copy of a report, demanded a reason for pulling me over, he said nothing. After more than an hour of this, they alerted the National Security Office in Berehove, who sent out an officer, and once he arrived, 5 more border agents searched my car 4 more times. When I asked what they were looking for, what am I charged with, they gave no explanation. And after holding me up for 8.5 hours, they let me go. This was about 10 minutes after midnight. September the 19th. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Pavlo Klimkin said he would not rule out the expulsion of the Hungarian consul from Ukraine. This after a hidden camera recorded a ceremony at the consulate in Berehove, in which Ukrainian citizens, who are obtaining Hungarian citizenship, recite the oath of allegiance. September the 21st. In an interview with the Ukrainian press, Foreign Minister Pavlo Klimkin accuses the Hungarian community of Subcarpathia of fueling separatism in the region. He insinuated that the Hungarians of Subcarpathia are a source of separatist threat that is aided by alleged Russian influence, in the context of the hybrid war being waged against Ukraine. September the 22nd. The Ukrainian nationalist website, Mirotvorets, which means peacemaker, published a database of names and addresses of individuals in Subcarpathia who allegedly have Hungarian citizenship. September 24th, the Berehove chapter of the organization Svoboda organized a demonstration at the local consulate of Hungary. Its declared purpose? To alert the Ukrainian government to what they consider to be Hungary's anti-Ukrainian policies. September 26th. The extremist Ukrainian nationalist organization, National Force, demonstrated at the Foreign Ministry in Kiev, demanding the expulsion of the Hungarian consul in Berehove. September 29th. The Ukrainian nationalist website, Mirotvorets, added the name of Hungarian Foreign Minister Péter Szijjártó to its public database, claiming that Szijjártó accused Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko of oppressing the Hungarians of Ukraine. October the 2nd. Budapest must recall its consul from Berehove, otherwise Ukraine will expel him, declared Ukrainian Foreign Minister Pavlo Klimkin. October the 4th. Ukraine has declared Hungary's consul in Berehove to be persona non grata, according to the official website of the Ukrainian Foreign Ministry. October the 9th. Yaroslav Halas, Vice President for Human Resources of the government administration in Subcarpathia, declared that officials would investigate several hundred individuals, including public officials and county representatives, based on the list of more than 300 persons deemed to have Hungarian citizenship, as published on the Ukrainian website Mirotvorets. October the 10th. Hungary's Foreign Ministry summoned the Ukrainian ambassador due to Ukraine's escalating anti-Hungarian policies. The same day, Ukrainian parliamentary representative Viktor Baloga declared, Ukraine should adopt a policy of relocating citizens to Berehove in order to eradicate its ethnic Hungarian character. October the 12th. The website of the Ukrainian parliament published an appeal for signatures in favor of deporting ethnic Hungarians from Subcarpathia. October the 13th. Irina Farion, a Ukrainian linguist, political and social activist, referred to the Hungarians of Subcarpathia as imbeciles and compares them to dogs. According to the Ukrainian nationalist, Ms. Farion, the Hungarians of Subcarpathia have no place in Ukraine. Think about it. If you send a dog to be trained, you get it back a month later and it knows the commands. Sit, heel, down. But these people need 7 years to learn the language of Stepan Bandera, Taras Shevchenko, Lena Kostenko. Do we need all these imbeciles in Ukraine? They should take those passports they get from Hungary and move there. Where's the problem? Why should I have to feed them here? Why should I pay money for them to study in Hungarian or Romanian or Russian? And excuse me, in Polish? October the 20th. Stop the separatists. Billboards bearing the slogan and the names and photographs of the leaders of the Hungarian community appear along the main roads near the towns of Uzhhorod, Mukachevo and Berehove. During November and December of 2018, a further 3 anti-Hungarian acts were monitored. Each of them may be considered as rough ones. 15th November 2018, Ildikó Orosz, rector of the Hungarian Institute of Subcarpathia, was interrogated by the Security Service of Ukraine as to her speech during the central commemoration event at the House of Terrors Museum in Budapest on the 23rd of October. 22nd of November 2018. Mysterious billboards appear in Subcarpathia with the text, "Let's overcome fascism together," displaying photos of Ms. Ildikó Orosz, Hungarian Institute of Subcarpathia, and Mr. Hanedyi Moszkal, Governor of Subcarpathia. 26th of November 2018. News website Mukachevo.net, referring to unofficial information, published an article about a criminal procedure against Ms. Ildikó Orosz, Hungarian Institute of Subcarpathia, member of the County Council. According to the information published on the website, Ms. Ildikó Orosz is charged under Clause 1 of Article 161 of the Criminal Code of Ukraine. Discrimination based upon race, ethnic origin, religion, deficiency, and other characteristics. In addition to these incidents, Ukrainian legal measures continued in 2018, which drastically limited the existing rights of national minorities. There is still no agreement on the provisions of the education law that pertain to minorities which, if implemented, would violate Ukraine's international commitments and dismantle the current system of native language education for minorities. Citing formal impediments, the Ukrainian Constitutional Court declared that the 2012 legal regulation on the use of native languages is no longer in effect. This court decision is a significant step backwards for minority language rights. Another cause of concern. The Ukrainian High Council is now considering proposed laws that would further limit or eliminate national minority rights.